Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome back, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. I cannot wait for you to get out of this what I've already gotten out of it from the conversations I've had with today's guest. It is going to blow your mind. It's counterintuitive, and then you start to really think about it and you go, oh my gosh, that makes total sense. Can you have big success from small events? And what if I told you the best events are actually the small events? The events where you have less than 50 people could very well be the ones that you get the most referrals from, or have the most fun at, or get the most connections at. So we're going to talk today about small events, big success, and how you too can focus on an intimate few. And maybe the rewards are even greater when we focus on quality instead of quantity. That's our podcast today. I cannot wait to get into it. I do have to invite you, though. You know, we're big on invitations. I want to invite you to Referral Mastery Summit 2022 in Orlando, Florida, September 27th through the 29th. This event has already changed thousands, tens of thousands of people's lives, and it could change your life too. You will walk out with literally a plan for your fourth quarter to maximize your referrals, but we don't stop there. You will literally have your entire plan for 2023 done for your database by the time you walk out on September 29th. I can't wait. You can't wait. Go to rms22.com. Check it out. The event and this podcast is brought to you by AmeriFirst Mortgage, AmeriTrust Mortgage, and AmeriUno Mortgage. You've got to check them out. They are brought to you by sponsor. We love them and appreciate them. Thank you so much. Also, we have Realty Leverage, Red Door Title, and Luna Computing, who have all agreed to sponsor and promote and be our partners on RMS 22. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. We've got a couple surprises at that event that are going to blow you away. We never like to give up the good stuff too early. So just know that when you get there, we've got some awesome gifts for you and a couple of great surprises to go with you having your business plan done to maximize your referrals. So we all want more referrals, right? There you go, rms22.com. So that leads us into our referral generating machine guest here today. Her name is Kim Borst, and she has been a realtor for 13 years. Her entire career has been with KW Premier, located in Katy, Texas. She took a leap of faith and started her real estate business after a divorce at age 42. It turned out to be the biggest blessing and the best fit for Kim's personality, lifestyle, and financial goals. Kim has consistently ranked in the top 20% of her market center of over 400 plus agents. The majority of her business is agent and client referrals or repeat client business. She works in West Houston, Katy, and the surrounding suburbs. Her business is 50-50, seller listings and buyers. She has a transaction coordinator, Marley Eilers, which has been the best leverage for her business. Kim has lived in Katy, Texas since 2002, 20 plus years. She remarried 8 years ago, and she and her husband, Tony, successfully blended their families. They have 3 children between them, his daughter and her 2 sons, which were teenagers at the time, and they met 10 years ago. All 3 are adults and managing life very well with their jobs and college studies now. Kim and Tony are now raising their Roddy Mix, Lucy, and have just literally gotten a brand new yellow lab puppy named Roxy, who kept Kim up all night last night. But without further ado, let's welcome Kim Borst to the Referrals Podcast. Welcome.
Well, thank you. That put a huge smile on my face.
The part where the dog kept you up all night, or the intro,
yes.
or what?
Well, you smirked when you said we blended our family with teenagers. That was fun. Yeah.
I had to, because I will tell you, just weekend, my son, who is 13, had 4 of his friends over. And my wife had just gone to Costco like that morning.
Mhm.
And by midnight that night, everything that we had bought at Costco and 3 large pizzas and several other things they ate us out of home and household in one night. And I was just lamenting on Facebook that how do you people with multiple teenagers and multiple kids do it? It's like I'm so appreciative of those families that you had 2 teenage boys and a girl in the same household. The budget alone probably got you out to work every day, and you're like, you could have literally had a sign like 3 kids need to work, please list with me.
Right. Hire me.
So that's
Well,
why I was smirking on that, is because I never realized maybe how much our kid ate until we had 5 of them in one
yes.
day.
Wow, 5.
Amazing. All right. So, we're talking about small events, big success. And I want to go into specifically your ice cream social event, and let's go into depth on that and talk about the success that you had with that. And then I want to talk about like small events, big success. Like, what is the key to having a lot of success with maybe the smaller events? And, I'm a big believer. We have All Yap, which is events that you basically invite everyone to. And then we have a plan for Top Yaps, which is for you to invite just your top people to. And these are events that are less than 50, ideally around 20 or 25 people. And they're for top people. So you can be more into, you can have better one-on-one connections and that kind of thing. And so the first thing I want to know is like, why ice cream social? Why did you have a ice cream social event?
Well, I'll be completely honest. It was my first event I'd ever done alone as a single agent. I had done other events with a group of agents in our office. And when COVID hit, that kind of fell by the wayside. We would do a pie party. We did a movie event, and that was always fun to do it with other people. But I had a fear of, could I do this myself? Could I put this together and pull it off? So I just jumped in. I love ice cream, and it seems simple. Yeah, it seems simple. Every year, National Ice Cream Day, I'm like, I'm going to do that. And I didn't do it. So this year I just jumped in and picked a place. I'd previewed a few.
That's half the fun right there. You know what? You can't just go with the first one.
Yes.
Check the ice cream there, and then every week for however many weeks, you just go get ice cream, and your kids love it too.
What was really important to me is for the venue is cleanliness when you come in. And I ended up checking out one place, but you could hear the freeway. You stepped out into a parking lot. That wasn't going to do it. And it wasn't as clean as I would have liked. So I went to our outdoor shopping, upscale shopping. They have a outdoor area next to it, which it was too hot in Texas to be outdoors. But a popular place called Gelato and Company. And the people were fabulous. I stopped by several times prior to update them. I invited 54 families. I had 14 families and 24 people show up. Had some giveaways. I don't know if you want to know about those, but it was a great event. I was proud of myself because I did it. Had a wagon, carried everything over, set it up. It was a lot of fun. Decorated the place. So
let's talk about venue a little bit. So and you brought up some great points. Too often, people don't even incorporate the planning part of it and kind of the research and that kind of thing. I talk in event mastery. There's really 5 phases or 5 sequences in event mastery. There's the planning sequence, the invitation sequence, the confirmation sequence, the event sequence, and then the follow-up sequence. And what we're talking about now is really kind of like that planning sequence. And I love what you said about the cleanliness, because the venue really represents you and your business as well. So we've got to pick a business that's great. And I don't want people to gloss over part of the things that you said is that you were thinking in the terms of the customer, the consumer, your clients who were coming to the event, in terms of what is their experience going to be like. And that's really what it's about. It's not about the cheapest. It's not about the easiest. It's about the best. How do we deliver, especially with small events? What is the best? So it's not having dirty, having a feel of just, and some of those ice cream shops just have that feel, right? Sticky floors and not very comfortable. And then this one actually had a park next to so if you had overflow, they weren't spilling into a parking lot and being dangerous. They had a park that they could camp out into. I absolutely love that venue research that you did.
Thank you.
So the other thing too on that is that the nice thing about ice cream is half the fun is the research you have to do, right? You've got to visit all these venues to make sure the ice cream tastes good, right?
True. Yeah. Hard job.
Anything else go into your planning before the event? Like anything else that you were thinking about or considering?
Yeah, what I wanted to give away. I'm creative. I would like to think I'm creative, and I took some things I saw in a group that, I don't know if you know what a pop buy is, but we make pop buys, and they're kind of little giveaways. So there was an ice cream scoop that people would market with, something about, ask me about the scoop on the real estate market. Well, I did not want to sell to my clients. This was about them. It wasn't about me getting business from them, because I think that will come organically if you love on your people. So I changed it up, and I ordered in bulk, put an ice cream scoop in a plastic bag with some sprinkles. And it said, my clients are a triple scoop with a cherry on top. So
I love it.
Yeah. And the kids, I'd always wanted, my company is called Bayou City Digs. And I've always wanted to do this bucket with a shovel with candy wrapped in plastic and Skittles and all that. And then the tag is, I dig you. And so I got a chance to do that, put some other things in it, little ice cream bookmarks. I was on Amazon and Dollar Tree and looking up little ice cream. I couldn't find a whole lot of ice cream novelties, but I put Rice Krispie treats and the candy I mentioned, and ice cream bookmarks and little mini bubbles. And oh my gosh, the huge balloon. Michael, you'll probably remember the big punching balloon when we were kids. Yep. I found those, and my clients came back and said, my kids loved those balloons. So it's just those little things.
I love it.
So,
and I love that you put your biggest competitor's picture on the punching balloon so that every time their kids punch it, they're punching their competitor's face. I love that you did that. And I know you didn't do that, but I have always wanted to do that. But here's the thing, right? You'd mentioned the pop buy, and listen, we're not anti-pop buy. Anytime you're giving value, it's great. But I'm a bigger fan of people coming to you than I am you going to them, because it's leverageable, it's scalable, it's time saving, it's stress saving, everything else. And the other thing too is if you're pop by, it's just you two, maybe, and it's kind of interruptive in a way, even if you get permission to come by ahead of time. Whereas if they're coming to an event, it's not interruptive at all. They're coming towards you. But the one big thing with an event is the connectivity that happens. And it's not about just us connecting with our clients and the people we invite. It's also that connectivity between all of them. Did you see some of that happening at your event?
Yes. And I could totally agree with you on the pop by, because it does take time when you're busy to figure out when to do it, and if you're interrupting something. So I'll hold more of these little events, because I witnessed firsthand that I had 1 to 2 people coming in. It was a 1 to 4 drop in. So I made sure when I sent the invitation I made them up in Canva, and I gave them text updates with the same ice cream picture, I guess, on the updates. Basically, everything was cohesive.
Yeah.
And
branded and consistent, right? All the
Yes, that's
looks
what
and
I'm trying to
feels and
say.
yeah,
Yes.
all the looks and
Yes.
feels were consistent, and everybody knew it was you when they saw the text update or the
Oh,
invite or the
yes.
save the date.
Yes. And these are my people, this
Mhm.
is like they're always referring to me. I know that if they knew of somebody, they would refer to me, regardless of whether or not I had a party for them. That's just how great they are. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
And
I love to have a reason to get together.
yeah, and what's really cool about when they get together is that like this person likes Kim and this person likes Kim. They didn't know each other at all before.
Mm-mm.
They come to this event and they meet each other. And they didn't know each other before, and the only point of reference for them is you. So they're like, "Well, how do you know Kim? How do you know Kim?" So they talk about, "Well, we use them, and we use their services, and it was great." And they talk, and it's like plus like equals two loves. When they get done, they both walk away, and they both love you because there's social proof that their like is correct. The fact that they like you is like, oh, there's other people that like Kim too. So they are emboldened and they are empowered to refer you even more because they got the chance and that social proof that, oh, it's not just me that loves Kim. There's a lot of people that love Kim. So I need to love on Kim even more. And that doesn't happen at a pop by. That only happens at an event where we invite people and we attract them in. So I absolutely love that you had it's kind of like popping popcorn, right? It's like they're bouncing against each other, and all of a sudden you've got all this energy and um, so on and so forth. So, how did you select your guests? You said you had 54 that you invited, right? I'm sure you know more than 54 people. How did you come up with the 54
It was 54 families.
families?
So,
Okay.
families. So there might have been, and we would have had more, but we had kids getting sick. So we had about 3 cancellations the morning of.
Yep.
And you're sending out the touch. A lot of them lived 30 minutes away, an hour away, but I'm inviting because you just never know if they're going to come or not. And I think in the future I'm going to do these small events because they're easy to do. Uh, Out towards their area because sometimes people just can't come, an hour for a scoop of ice cream, something like that. But they like to know that they were thought of and that you invite them. But
That's
I am
right.
going to do that so that I can incorporate loving on those people that live 30 minutes to an hour away, make it more convenient for them.
Yeah, if that's your market, then that's highly suggested. And you could even do it where, once a quarter you're doing one event another place, another event
Yes.
another place. I coached a very high producing team in the Lake of the Ozarks. Well, it's
Hmm.
a second family or a second home market. So most of their clients weren't in the Lake of the Ozarks. They were either in Kansas City or St. Louis. So what they would do is they did a Kansas City event like the first month or the second month and
Mhm.
of the quarter, and then they would do a St. Louis event the second or third month in the quarter, and they would rotate their events like that. And these were VIP events, and they were mingle and it's second home market, so a lot of these had one really powerful thing in common, and that is they probably had pretty good money,
Yeah.
and they also loved the Lake of the Ozarks. And when Mike would go to Kansas City, it was. I mean, these people didn't even know each other, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, you have a house at the Lake of the Ozarks too, and it's a huge service as well as I mean, and everybody talked about how great Mike was. And then in St. Louis, he got the same thing. And then the next month, he wouldn't do an event in either place. He would just follow up from the
Yes.
two events, with referrals and conversations that he had from those. So doing a couple of events in a couple of different markets just makes a ton of sense. And splitting the difference is also an option. When I was in Kansas City, I did a lot of business in Kansas, a lot of business in Missouri. So I did most of my events on state line, which was right in the middle. So it was kind of a meet in the middle type of thing. So I love that you're already thinking about expanding on
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're doing here and how you're doing. And National Ice Cream is in July, so you could do one in the beginning of the month and one at the end of the month, and it still applies, right?
That's true. That is true.
So you dropped so many nuggets really quickly that I have to make sure that people catch onto this. One is I kept loving how you're just like, these are my people, these are my people, these are my people. You know, it's like, you know, you take an ownership of the community. And the other thing is that you said you never know who's going to attend. You never know. I remember doing a launch party in Kansas City for 7L when I first launched it, and I invited people from all over the country, and there were 7 people who drove over 5 hours to celebrate the launch
Wow.
of 7L with me. And I didn't expect them to show up, but man, was I really appreciative. Yes, I was really appreciative that they did. But you never know, you know, and you know, they say that it's the thought that counts. Well, the event mastery spin on that is it's the invite that counts. It's
Right.
the invite. The power of the invitation is so cool. And then you confirmed. You know how many people have events and then don't actually confirm through text or any other form, and then they have nobody show up and they're wondering why. And it's because you got to confirm in today's world. Confirm, confirm, confirm. I love, and you talked about your Canva invite, and your text updates were consistent branding. You used the same ice cream scoop look. And then you talked about your scoop. Did you give everyone, every family that showed up, a scoop?
I did.
A actual ice cream scoop?
I did. And I actually have one, but I don't want to leave the screen to show you. But it turned out super cute. Um, everybody that saw it in my other groups loved it, so it gives other people ideas, creativity.
I have to tell you that, like, your company is Bayou City Digs, and just so everybody knows, if you've got Katy, Texas referrals, you need to send them to Kim, and it's BayouCityDigs.com. Very easy Bayou is Bayou, so make sure you spell that correctly. But it is one of those where even with a scoop, an ice cream scoop, you could put "I dig you" on an ice cream scoop, and that totally makes sense, and it's like, I dig you. And I think you got to call your people like the diggers, or like come up, like, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
something with dig you. That's definitely a 70s term. So we'll have to figure out like what goes with, remember it was dig it and I dig you. And I don't know. So anyway,
So my tagline is, "We can help you buy or sell. You'll dig us."
there you go. Right. So I
Mhm.
dig you is perfect branding for everything you do. And it's an ice cream scoop. They're digging into the ice cream with it.
That's,
You could do spoons,
I
you
hadn't
could
thought of
do
that.
shovels, you could do all kinds of cool things. So,
That's awesome.
all right. And then I'm just like, and then you had the kids involved with the ice cream, with the bucket, with the shovel, with the, and you used I dig you on that already. You had Rice Krispie treats and the Skittles, and, anytime you can add sugar to an event,
That's right.
it's
That's
just,
right.
and then you send them home, right? Send the kids home with the parents, and you don't have to deal with the sugar loaded, excited kids. And that's cool. And the punching balloons. I don't want to, I want to make sure that people note that, and like, a gift that they can take home and play with over and over and over again, which is different than candy, it's just a huge benefit, and it's big. It's like a sizable item that is going to be noticed, and it's different. So I love that. That's also why I love the cornhole games,
Oh,
and
yeah.
sending them home with cornhole games is because they put in it's just something memorable about you and your business the whole time. All right. So, was it expensive? Oh my gosh, you invited 54 families, you had 24 people there. It must have cost you thousands to buy all this ice cream for them.
No, it did not. And when I went to check out the venue, they asked me, and that was another thing about venues. First one off the freeway, horrible customer service.
Mm.
The place I chose, they were very engaged and excited. They said, "We've done these here before. We've had people do this." So I felt real comfortable about that. And she asked how I wanted it to happen. And we talked about a small ticket, like a movie ticket. And I was going to give them a ticket. And for me, I wasn't going to limit it to one scoop or,
Yeah.
just a certain ice cream or gelato, because it was gelato. It was whatever they wanted. If they wanted 3 flavors, go for it. If they wanted a bar, go for it. So it ended up with 24 people $168. And then I tipped, of course. That was it.
106. So I'm guessing around $200 for the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. And the party favors, the ice cream scoops, if you order them in bulk, they're like $1.25 each on Dollar Tree. And the buckets about less than $1.50 each. So
all in, you're around 200. Is that
maybe, let's say, yeah, under 250 for sure.
Yeah. So
and I still have buckets left over. I have some ice cream scoops. I bought, I ordered a lot of ice cream scoops. So I'm going to be doing this again next year, and I'll have the scoops.
There you go. I mean, you could literally buy enough next year for 3 or 4 years, right?
I have them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So love that. And I mean, less than $250, and you impacted 54 families, got 24 of them, 24 people together. And so referrals and business, or, was this just done out of the goodness of your heart?
I did not expect a referral because, as I said, these are the people that these are my clients that go all the way back to 13 years. And we sat and chatted, and we told the stories of, what happened with my sale, what happened with your sale. I actually connected. One of my clients has a candy business, and one of my clients is an acupuncturist. So I was connecting those people with my clients, trying to help them out. So
that's the ABC, right? The old ABC in the ego era of sales was always be closing, right? Hard closing, overcoming objections. The new ABC is always be connecting. And you played the hub of this, the spokes were your people, and you kept connecting them, which is part of the advantage of an event, right? Of getting people together. And you probably wouldn't have maybe thought to put them together if it wasn't for them being in the same space at the same time. Acupuncturist and a candy company, that doesn't make any sense until you're like, oh my gosh, they could do this together. Or they have the idea of how they could do it together. So how did you handle strangers at the event? Like, what if somebody just walked in?
Well, they were. So that was kind of challenging because I had the buckets lined up in the windows, and the kids were coming in that weren't part of our group. And the man said, you can have this area. It was a small venue. And I put some decorations up, and I had some games, like wooden games I had purchased, like Connect Four and Tic-Tac-Toe. So some of the customers came in and they would sit in the area, but it was okay because we were only having 1 to 3 of my families. And a lot of times we were standing around chatting. But the little kids that would come in thought that these were for sale or they wanted one. Yeah. And so it was hard because I had just enough for my group of people.
Yeah.
So,
So what's interesting about that is there is a way to get one. It's just to sell their home or buy a home with you, right? It's pretty easy to get one if you really think about it. So, so I love that. And, all right. So, would you do it again?
Oh gosh, yes. And in the same spot for sure.
Oh, so next year in July, you're going to do an event at the Gelato and Company, right?
Yes, I will. And I'll probably do a second event in the other area, 30 minutes away, and try and capture those clients and love on them a little bit and hope that they can come.
Love it. And then what are you going to do in the fall? Like, what are you thinking about in the fourth quarter of this year as far as an event?
It's a pie party. We always do a pie party, and I'll do it alone if I can't find the group of people, and I probably can. I have an agent that we did it together. We just didn't because of COVID. And we would always hold it in our office. There were 3 or 4 of us, and I probably had 14 families come through for the pie. We had snacks laid out and drinks and such. And people would sit around and talk, and then their clients would talk to my clients, and we had photos taken. I'd like to bring it and make it a little bit bigger this year and get a real photographer and maybe do fall photos. Just expand on what we've done in the past.
Yeah, I would definitely, coach be coaching, right? It is, the use of photos and videos. Just take photos, get videos, even if you never use them, it's
Hmm.
great to have them. But it really bids well with Facebook and social media to have the photos and the videos. They're fun to send to the people who attended. Is
Yes.
you never know when that amazing shot's going to be taken. Um, and then here's the thing that I think you're going to find is interesting is this is the first year you will have done the pie event as a second event.
Hmm.
What you have is now you have momentum with your database, right? You've overcome inertia. You've got some people to move closer to you. And now you've got momentum. So it would not surprise me if your pie day isn't twice as big as it's been in the past.
It's possible sometimes because it is, we hold it on the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving because it's a perishable pie. We get it
Right.
at, I don't know if I could tell you where we get it, but we get
Sure.
it at
Tell us.
uh, we get it at Costco. It's ten
Yep.
dollars. Yeah,
Let's,
and I
yeah.
actually got a client that way because she saw the big flat of pies, and we had 50 or 60 pies because it was all of us together. Oh my gosh, she worked there. How do I get a pie? I said, well, you need to become a client. Let me help you buy a home. I have been following her since 2019, and she's helping her grandmother. I've referred her to an agent in Austin. And once that house, her grandmother's house sells, she and her grandmother are buying a house with me. So,
It
yeah,
works. It works.
it
Oh my
does.
gosh. It
Yeah.
was just a conversation about pie. It wasn't a conversation about real estate at all. But
No, no.
that's the beauty of events and what we're talking about here is it's just I mean, it's conversations, right? He or she with the most conversations win in business. And we're not talking about real estate conversations, but when you have more conversations, if you're a real estate agent, they're going to lead to real estate. If you're a lender, they're going to lead to mortgages. If they're any of these if you're a solar person, they're going to ask you how's business or tell me more about that solar thing that you do. And it's about having more conversations. That's the cool thing about an event is they're forced conversations. You were forced to have at least 14 conversations that day with 14 different people. But
Yeah.
it's leverageable and it's scalable because they're there, right? And
Mhm.
there's just a beauty to it. Um, so the other thing too, I would be remiss if I did not promote Event Mastery right now. So we are helping people do their Pi Day. It's
Mhm.
eventmastery.com. It starts mid-October, and the reason it starts mid-October is because in 7 to 8 weeks, I actually will help people throw their Pi Day event. And it's built for Pi Day, or some people are doing like a I love you latte, but it's I love a pumpkin spice latte, and
Oh,
they're doing it at Starbucks, right? And then Dunkin' Donuts has their premium pumpkin spice latte. So some people are doing I love you a premium PPSL basically. And it's one of those where so 7 weeks I go through the planning sequence, invitation sequence, confirmation sequence, event sequence, and follow up sequence with people in the class. So it's eventmastery.com. You can check it out. If you sign up for Referral Mastery Academy, you actually get 3 event masteries a year, which is a great value. So I got to drop that in there because we're going to help about 350 to 400 people do Pi Days, most likely.
great.
So
Great ideas.
yeah. All right. So it's all right. We've got your fall event. What are you thinking about in the spring? What do you think about in February, March for an event? Small event, big success.
So, people are having great luck hiring a photographer. That is the one thing that gets families there. And you have a limited number of slots. So
Hmm.
you hire the photographer. I'm thinking Valentine's Day because a lot of my clients are young 30 somethings, professionals with kids, and I've helped them. I had the housewarming party for them. They were engaged, then they bought the house and got married, and now some of them are on 2 kids, and we're going to the next home. So these
Yeah.
are these are
Yep.
my people. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
So I want to hire a photographer and do some kind of balloons, and background with for Valentine's Day,
Hmm.
and let them sign up and tie it to a charity and have them bring, something, food for a local charity or something like that. coats for the winter. I don't know. We'll come up with that, but do something to give back.
I love it. And the photographer is simple for you, whereas it's actually kind of a complex thing for the individual family to set up.
Yeah,
If they like, I don't know what photographer to call. I
right.
don't know what background I want. But if they go to yours and you've got two or three options on what background they can choose, and there, one of the things that we see in so many homes these days is, this home is filled with love, love, just
Mm-hmm.
love pillows, love, wall hang, like everything is love, which I love. And it's one of those where you could do a backdrop that is, family equals love, or, that kind of thing, all centered around Valentine's Day. And, the whole thing is we love our clients,
Oh yeah,
and it just makes logical sense that my realtor would have something around Valentine's Day, and it'd be a
true.
lot of fun. So love that. And February is a fantastic time in the Midwest to be having events, because February, especially right after the Super Bowl, it seems like everybody kind of starts to come out of their winter cocoon, and they actually start thinking about selling a home, buying a home, schools for next year. And it's just a really good launch for your spring and summer market to do that February event. February is a really good month to do an event. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Now I think I've seen your business plan. Your business
I'm
plan
excited.
is National Ice Cream Month event in July, maybe a couple of them, Pie Day in the fall, and then, in February you do a Valentine's Day special, right?
Yeah, and really another thing I thought about, because it might even be even smaller, is Taco Tuesday happy hour. And then you can get people on a weeknight that might be busy weekends with kids soccer, or things like that, baseball, whatever's going on with the kids, and they might not be able to make it. So you grab the parents for a Taco Tuesday and maybe a margarita, and you might have 4 people, you might have 14.
You might
But
have more,
yeah,
because it's adults only. I
yeah,
mean, how many, I mean, I'll tell you what adults are craving more than ever right now is adults only time.
true.
Because what have they had for the last 2.5 years? They've had family time, lots and lots of home time, family time. Like they've invested quite a bit maybe into their home, and so on and so forth. And it's like, man, they're ready to mingle.
Mhm.
It's time to have a happy hour. And the cool thing about happy hours, and I'm a huge fan of adults events for business, because everybody in the room is a referral source, and the cost is proportional to that, right? So it's one of those where when you have families, the kids aren't going to refer you, so you're paying for maybe a potential non-referral source. Now I'm huge on family events too, so don't get me wrong, but the adults only, everybody in the room is a potential referral source. So you're investing very wisely in those that could refer you, right? So I love that. I love that. I mean, here's the thing about adults only events is they don't compete with your family events. They really don't. They
True.
go hand in hand. So love it. Nacho average happy hour, right?
That's
That's
good. Yeah.
that's we have several podcasts on Nacho average happy hour. So it's something to check out. And Tommy Sandvik will be speaking about it at RMS. I can't wait to let him. I mean, it's so easy to set up, and he makes money when he does them because of sponsor partners. And then he has a charity that gets 500 to $2,000 or $3,000 when he holds them. So there's a precursor there. There's a history of success of that small event, big success, right? So what else do you love about small events versus like the idea of having 200 people at an event?
Oh gosh, just my fear was I'm only one person. I didn't have a lender with me, no one else to buffer the conversation. So I was connecting my clients to kind of say, hey, this person lives in Louisiana or is from Louisiana. So I was trying to connect them to kind of take the pressure off of myself a little bit on having to hold the conversation or keep things going.
Yeah,
So with a small event, I felt like I handled that pretty well. I cannot imagine me and 200 people. I just
yeah,
can't. And honestly, I wouldn't, some people are okay with that. I don't know. They have different ideas on what they want to accomplish when they maybe have an ice cream social for a farm, to bring people in. But I wouldn't feel like I was actually getting quality time with them to say, hey, what's going on in your life? And how's the kids and how's school? Just to kind of catch up in person. I get that at a small event.
Yeah, I love that. And I will tell you, there is a strategy for handling the 150 plus event where you kind of implemented it with your event. Is you had the like the movie tickets, you had the tickets. We call it the golden ticket strategy. And the golden ticket strategy is that everybody who comes to the event has to go to you or the representatives. Like if it's a team, then there would be 5 people who have golden tickets, and whoever invited the person, they would, an usher at the front would take that guest to the person who invited them, and you would interact with them and then give them the golden ticket to go get the pie, the concession stand food, the ice cream, whatever it may be. So there is a way to deal with it, but you're right. There are some more mechanics and logistics to deal with. The thing that I really love about this whole theme of today's podcast, this small events, big success, is it's easier to have small events. It's not as stressful. And the thing is there's so much more focus on a few, that it's quality over quantity. And the cool thing about quality over quantity is if you focus on quality long enough, you'll have a quantity of quality. And that's the beauty. And it's also easier to get people to an event of 20 to 50 than it is to get people to go to an event of 200 people, just because of the atmosphere and the environment that we live in today, because of, barely post-COVID, basically. So lots of great nuggets here, lots of reasons to hold small events. And for some people, small events might be, their jam for a year or two, and just stick with that and go with it and just make that your niche, and I think there's a lot of value to that. You can do really well with that. So great stuff here. Any final words of wisdom for that person that's on the fence, never done an event, or they're new to real estate or lending or entrepreneur or having their own business for the first time, or they're thinking about have an event? What words of advice would you give for somebody like that?
Even if you have just started and you're brand new, you can do inexpensive things to love on your people. Mm-hmm. The ice cream social. I mean, even if 4 people came, and you could ask them to bring a friend, invite them and have them bring a friend. You could do a manicure, pedicure type of a thing. That might be a little bit more expensive, but it's also a concept for micro events. 2 of your VIP people who refer to you, have them bring a friend. So you're actually getting to meet more people, and they're seeing how you treat your VIP clients, so, and get to know you too on a personal level. You're not just a realtor, you're a real person, and you kind of make a new friend. So I would say, just start. Don't let the fear stop you, because it did for me for several years. And just plan it out, jump in, RSVP again, get an RSVP through text the morning of. I did that. The last one was see you today. And one person said, thanks for the reminder. Because you never know, what's going on. They wake up, they forget what day it is. So what are we doing today? So
that's genius. The last second RSVP confirmation, is just critical. Confirming 24 hours before and 1 hour before. What's funny is one person texted you back, thanks for that. But I guarantee 14 were appreciative that you reminded them that the event was actually that day. People are busy. They got things that they're doing. So,
and I found out 3 were sick. I'm so sorry. My kids are sick. So I knew who would not make it, based on that. And then follow-up calls, basically thanking people that they came, calling and thanking, those that came. Sorry we missed you on those that didn't. And then, checking in on the kids that are sick too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, your follow up's different for each of them, right? Your follow up's different for the ones who couldn't make it because they're ill. Your follow up is to check on them, make sure they're
Yeah.
okay. Your follow up for the ones that attended is appreciation. If you want them to attend the next event, because what you appreciate appreciates. If you want them to
Mm-hmm.
attend the next one, appreciate the fact that they attended this one. And then you've got your referral follow ups and your lead follow ups and your opportunity follow ups that are always there, and your connection follow up, which is connecting the acupuncturist and the candy company person, and just say, hey, listen, how did this go? Sometimes that friendly accountability is what actually makes the deal happen.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Kim, this is dynamite. This is fantastic information, and man, just packed. I mean, a page full of notes, right? So great stuff. I really appreciate it, and I know the listeners appreciate it as well. Would you mind sharing like a couple of the graphic, like you said, you have a Canva invite and your text? Would you mind sharing like pictures of those that we could just share with people? I
Sure.
know that a lot of people listen to this, they can't see it. Even though it's on YouTube, it get referrals as well. But
Okay.
are you and a picture of the scoop? If you don't
Yeah.
mind, just so
I have
people can get
everything.
some ideas and get the juices flowing
So
on,
should I just send you a photo of those things?
that'd
And
be
then you'll,
fantastic.
yeah, I'll give you everything I got. It was easy. I'd recommend it. I'll do it again, and I'll probably expand on it, with other ideas.
Well, we can always get better, right? We can always
Yeah.
we can always get better. That's the joy of life. That's the fun in all this. So, I mean, just amazing stuff, Kim. I really really appreciate you being our guest here today on the Referrals podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you as well for listening in today to today's Referrals podcast with Kim Borst. The fact of the matter is, can you have small events and have big success? In some cases, maybe that's the ideal environment for you. Maybe that's the ideal environment for your top clients or the people that you know the best or the most influential, successful people that you know. In many cases, the more influential and successful they are, they don't want to go to a 200 person event. They're far more likely to go to an event that is smaller, more intimate, and maybe a little more casual, right? And in today's environment of being barely post COVID, the fact of the matter is people feel safer at smaller events and they feel like they're more comfortable. It's like a big family event instead of just a huge production. I also just absolutely love what Kim brought to the table today on the confirmation process. We talk about the planning sequence, invitation sequence, confirmation sequence, event sequence, and then the follow up sequence. And that invitation sequence and confirmation sequence is so critical because it's the thought that counts. She's going to get referrals from the people she invited who didn't even show up. What is the ROI on that? She literally did not spend a dime on them, and yet she's going to get referrals and repeat clients from those invitations because, like she said, my people, you never know. They may show up, they may not. So I absolutely love that. And the scoop, she's got I Dig You, and she's branding along. Her website is the BayouCityDigs.com. Everything around the digging you, I dig you, we dig you, buy or sell with me, you'll dig us. All really just makes perfect sense, especially with an ice cream event. And I hope that she incorporates that with the pie and comes up with something for the pie server, the little triangular serving element. I could see that being a part of it. And then in February, doing something around Valentine's Day and having something incorporated around, a shovel to plant flowers or something that makes sense around the entire digging theme of what she's doing. It's different. I don't think we've ever had anybody on the podcast who has talked about the dig type of branding. I absolutely love that. And she didn't just settle for an ice cream shop. She didn't just settle for a place that's maybe normal. She went and researched different places and came up with a place that was ready for her and was happy to have her and had done it before, which made her job a lot easier. Small events, big success, people. You got to make it happen. Start with a small event. I truly believe you've got to start with a small event and then get yourself comfortable with holding events, and then you can gradually build it as you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here for our Referrals podcast. Please do me a favor. Check out a couple of sites that we mentioned here is rms22.com. Our Referral Mastery Summit is in Orlando, September 27th through the 29th. AmeriFirst, AmeriTrust, and AmeriUno are huge sponsors of that, and we're very appreciative of them. Make sure you check it out at rms22.com. And then also eventmastery.com. It is our 7-week live class where I literally hold your hand through the entire process of getting referrals through events. And I hope you check that out at eventmastery.com. So here's the deal. You like today's Referrals podcast episode, do us a favor, share it, rate us, review us, let me know what you think. And the bottom line is we really appreciate you. We hope you have an awesome week. Please check out. You're not going to believe next week's podcast. It's going to blow your mind like it blew my mind. We've already recorded it. You're going to love it. So make sure you check us out on the next episode of Referrals Podcast. Thank you. See you next time.